Okay, so we need to understand this exchange rate story here. Of course, a story which is very interesting for students, but let's see, follow it up. For several years, up to the end of Q1, $1 has been equivalent to 1.4. And this exchange rate has been used when producing the current year budget. Food produced in natural division is dispatched immediately upon production and F holds minimum inventory. The cost of ingredients imported from VLAND represents 50% of the division cost of sales and suppliers invoiced in $. So we need to do an update. The cost of sales to start with will increase because of the volumes. And this is one point that students normally miss. If sales volumes go up by 2% for each of these quarters, even the cost of sales will go up by 2%. That is one. Secondly, the 50% of that figure is subject to an exchange rate. So then we need to deal with that one correctly. So then, what do? Interpretation. $1 is 1.5. For several years, at the end of Q1, $1 was 1.4. So how did you convert the $V to $C? What did you do? You had 50% of the cost in $V. How do you convert the $V into a $C? What did they do? How did they convert the $V to $C? I want your comments now. I want your comments. When these figures were being prepared here, there was a conversion that took place. So I want your comment about what is it that happened so that we can make some changes. Your comments, please. How did we move? We had invoices in $. How did we convert them to $C? I'm looking for comments.
So are we not supposed to divide by 1.5?
No, you must follow my question. My question goes this way. You must follow my question. So I want to make your life easy. Okay? That's what I want to do. I want to make our life very, very easy. I don't complicate. So, supposing you were invoiced, supposing you were invoiced $V, 1,000. And for you to prepare this statement is in $C. So before this change, how would you move this to $C? What would you do before this change?
You have to divide.
Yes, so they were dividing by what?
1.5.
Area on.
Or by 2.
1.4.
1.4.
That's what they were doing. Here, they were dividing up by 1.4. But now they say, later on realize that was not correct. You're supposed to divide by what?
1.5.
1.5. You know, we are trying to get you ready. It's been a while since we had the question exchange rate. So you need to know, keep it simple. Do a small illustration. So half of our invoices for cost of sales. We are coming in V dollars. So for us to prepare this statement, we're dividing by 1.4. So then what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by 1.4, then divide correctly by 1.5. All together? We're going to reverse that and use 1.5. If we all agree on that, then the work is over. But somebody still has says, I may have a problem, please let's know so that we can help out. Eh? Okay. So now let's do our working. So our working for cost of sales is here. Cost of sales. We pick the figures the way they are. In quarter 2, we start with from quarter 2. The figure before, I'll copy in the figure, what the figures was 7120, 6460. So that's the first one. Okay. So there are two things. Let's deal with half. 50% of that. I'll pick 50% of that and deal with it. So this one, the first 50%, which was local, it wasn't the problem. This one was not a problem. Okay. Let's adjust the volume. Volume adjustment, just like we did here, 1.02. Okay. So that one, no issues. So this is one portion. So that's this portion here. What of the other 50%? This was the one which was affected by the exchange rate. Okay, so this was the import. So what do we do about this? No issues, guys. All we do is we're going to take it divided by 1.2, multiply it by first 1.4, then divide by 1.05. Here's what I'm doing. I'll take the figure, I'll multiply by 1.4 first, then divide 1.5. That's what I'm going to do. So we go, we take this figure, multiply by 1.04, then divide by 1.05. So we have now factored the new exchange rate. Now remember, the volume also still applies to here. The volume still applies, 1.02. Have we followed, people, what I've done?
Mr. Piri,
Yes, sir. Oh,
have
yes,
you
ma'am.
not added the to the volume twice now.
I've split them into two. There's this 50% and the other 50%. Then we shall add them up. So the cost of sales that you're going to report now, you add up these two portions. That one plus that one. So this cost had two components. 50% was local and 50% was imported. You follow the argument, eh? So we took this figure first of all, and we say the 50% is here. So this 50% we just increase by 1.02. The other 50% we say first of all we multiply by 1.4 to reverse the exchange rate that had been used from Q2. So we're now supposed to be dividing by 1.5. So what we have did first, we reversed. We multiply by 1.4 and divide by 1.5. Have we followed all of us what we have done here? Yes, you can even do it. There are shortcuts actually. There are shortcuts. Probably what I've taken is a long approach, but we can actually, once you understand it, you can also use some shortcuts. Let's come to distribution cost. The rate of tax levied by Sealand government on the cost of fuel, which luxury uses to power its fleet, is to increase from 60%, which it has been for many years, to 63% at the beginning of Q3. 70% of the distribution costs are represented by the cost of fuel for delivery vehicles. This will do exactly what was done earlier on. Here, we use the same approach. We'll take it and split it. There is the 70%, which is fuel. That's the one which is affected by the levy. The 30% is not. But the distribution cost is going to increase because of the volume. So you say, okay, distribution costs. Okay, so let's put in the distribution costs. So before, what are they? The distribution costs are 720, 660, and 420. So these are the costs here. So there are two components. There's a non-fuel. Let's deal with a non-fuel. Non-fuel component. What's a non-fuel component? How much is it? What proportion is it?
It's 30.
30%. So that's what you do. You deal with the 30%. So deal with that one first. So ask yourself, where is my 30%? Okay. This component is not, there's no levy on this. There's no levy on this amount. So it's going to increase because of what? Because of the volume. The distribution costs move with volume. So that is your 1.02. And this is a bit which I think may have been difficult for many students. So this one, we are done with it. So simply take this, multiply by that. So there we are, people. So that's what you have here. Let us now move to 70%, the fuel component. So the fuel component, which is that minus this one. So that's the fuel component. This component, let's say there's an issue. Starting when? When does it start? Starting from Q3. This, there was a tax of 60%. So all this, there was 60% added. But now we need to adjust. We need to use what rate? We need to use what rate?
63%.
Yes. So it's like these figures, they multiplied by what? They multiplied by 1 plus 60%, 1.6. But now we are saying no. From Q3, that is not correct. Here, there's no need for an adjustment. That one is okay. But starting from here, there's an adjustment. I'll do what we did on the exchange rate, where first of all, we divide by what? Huh?
By 0.6.
1.6, not 0.6.
Oh, 1.6.
Yes. So we're going to divide by 1.6. Then you are going to multiply by 1.63. Have you followed the logic? We are putting a 60%. Now we are saying that here it's okay. But here you're not supposed to put a 60%. So you're supposed to take this figure. First of all, you divide by 1.6. Then multiply by 1.63. So this is the correct figure now here. That's the correct figure. So this is what happened to the fuel. That's what has happened to the fuel. So this is what we are doing. We are dividing by 1.6 and multiply by that. So that's what we have done here. Okay. So what's the total now? Total distribution cost. Now you can add. We add that one. Okay. So one item, one of you was supposed to, Mr. Piri, where is the volume discount here? Where is the volume discount here? None of you has told me about the volume discount.
That's what I was wondering. We're not supposed to.
But you didn't tell me.
I was waiting for it to finish.
No. That is very much unfair. That is very much unfair. Okay. Yes, the question was a terrible one, you know. But what we have also seen is some of these questions are being repeated by ACCA. So that's why we're doing this one. But in case the examiner repeats it, it won't be a tricky for you. Okay. So I'm supposed to multiply by 1.02. Okay. So now that is correct. That is now correct. So the total now, you add this one plus that one. There we go. Yeah, so it was a small nasty question, you know. If you take a very simplistic view,
Mr. Perry,
yes, please.
why are we not adjusting the 504 with the volume?
Which one?
That one.
4. The 5. Yes, you are right. Even the 504 is supposed to be disconnected. Let me just check which figure I picked for 504. That less that. So it missed that one. You are right. So we're supposed to multiply this one. For the levy, there was nothing. And this one, 1.02. Okay, there we are. Yeah, so it's a small nasty question. You take a very simplistic view, you would earn very little marks out of it. Very, very little marks out of it. So you needed to understand how to arrange your figures. With a spreadsheet, it's much easier. With the pen and paper, it's a terrible thing. So distribution cost, this one I pick 624. This one I pick from here. There we are. What will the admin cost? Admin cost. Admin cost is something interesting here. They say the CEO has initiated a program of overhead cost reduction and savings of 2.5 from the budgeted admin costs are expected from the beginning of Q2. Q3 costs are expected to be a further 2.5% lower than Q3, with a further 2.5 in Q4 over Q3. So how do we do that? Here, so this one, we put in the figure which was given, minus 2296. So that's okay. What of Q3, Q2? They say it must be 2.5% below the budget. What was the budget? The budget was 2.3. So what do I do? I'm simply going to say 2.3. I must multiply by what? I want to reduce the figure by 2.5%. So I must multiply by what? Is that okay? 0.975. 100% minus 2.5% gives you what? Is that okay? 97.5. That is why I'm multiplying by 0.975. Again, this figure multiply again by what? 0.975. Here again, people, have you followed the story? Have we learned something?
Yes, a lot.
Okay, so let's just counter check this. Okay, 41, 60. And here, somebody didn't tell me that that's a minus. Minus. Okay, well, so right now. Okay, so our budget has changed. Earlier on it was 4,000, now it's 5,127. So this is an example of a question that has come before, how to roll the budget, how to update the budget. So here it was the actuals, so pick the actuals. So there we just pick the actuals. Okay. Then these are the ones that we updated. This portion was updated. Okay. If you give somebody this question to do, one of the things that may be omitted is to realize that the sales volume is going to affect a number of variables. All variable costs are going to move when sales volume moves. So the cost of sales, the distribution costs are going to move accordingly. And I hope you have seen also the exchange rate, how to do the exchange rate. Okay, so that's the first part of our discussion. Are there any questions? On part one. Part one. Okay, fine. So let's go into our part two. Part two now, let's do some work.